Sports on Air.
All right, everyone. Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning. And wherever you are across the world, this is Sports on Air, the webcast series brought to you by Cloudwalk Digital and Podcast Manila. My name is Ernest Hernandez, and I'm joined here by the one and only, the man, the myth, the hurricane, Tony Harris. How are you doing, buddy? Long time no see.
I'm good, man.
Okay, where in the world are you right now, Tony?
I'm in Louisiana right now.
And how is it there, bro? Everything is in quarantine right now. How is it
Uh,
life doing for you there?
Well, we're in the second wave of this COVID-19. It's hitting Louisiana pretty bad as well as New York, California, Texas.
Now, Tony, it has been quite a while since people got to know you. We want to know, how's your life right now? Any kids? How is your everyday life looking right now compared to your 90s?
Well, it's a lot different, of course. In the 90s, it was all about basketball. Now it's all about my kids now, you know. I mean, basketball has surpassed me already, you know. Nothing lasts forever.
Okay, so how many kids do you have right now, okay, Tony?
7. I have 7 kids.
7 kids.
Yes.
That's a family man right there.
Yeah. I have 4 boys and 3 girls.
Any of them interested in basketball already?
Well, my son from Louisiana, he is, but he took his football scholarship. He was at Clemson, which is probably the best college, one of the best teams in the country, college football.
Okay, so the lineage of the athleticism of Tony Harris has been going to the veins of your kids, and of course, through football. Have you been into football? I don't know if he choose to play football. Did you just tell him, hey, why won't you try basketball?
Yeah, I played football in high school.
Okay.
They wanted me to play in college, but I didn't.
Are you any much involved with basketball right now in your life?
Oh, of course I am. I mean, basketball is always going to be a part of my life. I mean, I train.
Okay.
I train. I still do a lot of shooting myself.
Okay.
I mean, all I know is basketball. I don't know anything else. You know, basketball's been a part of me for my whole life. So, you know, it will always be a part of me to the day I die.
Okay. So are you coaching right now? Are you doing some stuff
I
to
train.
kids?
Well, I train kids right now. Well, I train all ages, actually.
Okay.
I train guys that's going into the NBA. I train kids that's going to the college level. I train kids in high school. So I'm just trying to pass that knowledge on right now while I'm still here. Because that knowledge does me no good once I'm dead and gone. So
It's good to get to know how you scored all those points back in the 90s. That knowledge to all those kids out there. But anyway, Tony, this is my thing. Let's go back to the day that you came, that you were about to arrive to the PBA. Can you recall the call that you had that made you say that, okay, I'm going to give this Philippine basketball a shot. Can you recall that day that you were called upon to play for the PBA?
well, I had a friend of mine. His name was Tank Collins. He was a teammate of mine
Okay.
in college. He'd already came to the Philippines. And so after my NBA camp with the 76ers, I ran into Tank Collins. He's from Los Angeles. He had already, he had already come over there and played in the Philippines. So he was very familiar with it. And he told me, Tony, you should try to go play in the Philippines. And I'm like, nah, man, you going no damn Philippines. I'm going to the NBA.
Okay.
Because of course my dream was the NBA. It was never anything else but the NBA. So he says, Tony, the Philippines will love you. I'm telling you, because your type of basketball, they will love you. Your basketball is showtime. They love showtime over there. So he said, you should give it a try. So he passed me agent's number, and that was doing, sending players over to the Philippines. He passed me the number, and I passed it on to my agent, Mark Fletcher, who at the time had Kevin Garnett, Tony Parker, and myself, Dino Raja. Dino Raja played for the Celtics. I think we all know who KG is, Kevin Garnett. We all know who Tony Parker is.
Yeah.
We all was a part of the same agency. So when he gave me the number, I had my agent check off into it. And they worked out a deal, and
Okay.
I was sitting in the Hilton Hotel with my manager. I was sitting. The rain is really strong. The wind, I'm out here in the Philippines. I'm really asking God, like, why am I here in the Philippines? Please show me a sign. What's the purpose of me being here in the Philippines? Because I'm supposed to be in the NBA. I know there's a reason why you have me here.
Okay. So, Tony, I think you were playing for the Philadelphia 76ers before coming to Manila. Is that right?
And yes.
Okay. So, during that time with the Philadelphia 76ers, who were your teammates back then? I mean, all I know is, of course, that was the era of Charles Barkley.
Yes. I played with Charles Barkley his last year there before he ended up going to the Phoenix Suns.
Okay, so how was it like to be in the same court in the practices with Charles Barkley?
Oh, man, it was a dream. Well, first of all, Charles was never a dream of mine to play with.
Okay.
My dream was to play with, the same team Julius Erving came from, which was the 76ers. So
Okay.
it was a dream come true for me to be going to the Philadelphia 76ers. All I could do was sit in the locker room and pinch myself and see if I was dreaming or not. Because it was a dream for me to play with the 76ers. And it was a dream that came true. I'm not sure how many people in this world dreams ever came true. Well, mine came true.
Okay. When you actually wore that 76, what does it feel like for you? Did you take a lot of pictures of yourself, or how was it? How long did you look at yourself in the mirror with that 76ers uniform?
A long time. A very long time. Very long time. I mean, it was just a wonderful feeling and all.
Okay.
Just to be in the locker room. I don't care. I don't care even if I didn't have a jersey on. Just me to be in the presence of being in the 76ers locker room was melting, And it was just a great feeling, man. I'm lost for words actually. Because it's kind of hard for me to explain. Because I'm explaining so you'll get the feeling, but you'll never get that feeling.
It's more than words, buddy. It's more than words to explain. But anyway, right now, let's go to your career here in the Philippines. But before anything else, I want to bring in my partner. Brian Yalong is on the other line. He will also get to ask questions. He has been getting all your numbers. He knows how many points you've scored in all of the games that you played. So we're going to bring him in. Brian,
Wow.
are you here?
Wow. Well, he knows more than me because I don't know how many points I scored in every game.
Okay, Tony, here's Brian Yalong.
What do y'all want?
Okay.
Just call me Brian. Don't ask my last name. Morning from the Philippines, Tony.
How you doing?
Yeah, I was surprised. I got a call then that just told him to get ready now.
We just said though we got to do it now. We got to
Yeah.
get Tony.
You can tell me how many points I scored in every game? Wow. That
Actually,
is ridiculous. That is amazing. If you can tell me every point I scored in every game.
Well,
Because
actually,
I don't know.
I had a PBA annual and your numbers were there. You were at the top of the list, and of course at the top of the list is the 105 points you had in October 10, 1992. But then you had several others. I'm not sure how many this is. It's so many, and I'm sure.
Yeah, I had 98, I think a week later. I had 98 points a week later. I scored 105. I had 98, and my coach took me out of the game, I think, early in the fourth quarter. He took me out. I could have broken my own record.
Yeah.
but he took me out of the game. I had no idea I had 98 points at the time until I got on the bench and they told me, Tony, you know how many points you have, huh? I said, no. So you have 98 points. I said, 98? Whoa.
I was also wondering, why did you make it 100 at least?
I mean, that was just a basket for you, bro, to make it 100. And what time did Coach Yang pull you out? Like
You know what?
5 minutes in the fourth quarter or what?
There was like 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. He took me out with 98 points. And I didn't know until I got to the bench. And I'm just sitting there thinking, whoa, I could have broken my own record. I don't think he wanted me to break my own.
Tony, can you describe to us, okay, coming into the PBA, meeting Coach Yang for the first time and meeting your teammates? Can you describe to us that introduction?
Oh, man, amazing. I mean, the first name that popped up was Rudy the Streeto, the Destroyer. So I'm thinking, okay, the Destroyer. I'm thinking this guy's gonna be 6'7", 6'8", some big guy. And his little ass 6'1", a 6 foot Rudy the Streeto walked out on the court, and they call his name the Destroyer. I said, that's the Destroyer. They say, yeah. I'm like, whoa. You know, I was like, and they, you know, and I mean, my teammate was amazing, man. Coach Yangale, you know, when I got in my first practice with him, I said, yeah, this is going to work. This will work. Because he was not a coach that was going to try to put me in his system. He put his system around me. He was smart enough to do that. To say, okay, I have a great player here. I'm going to surround my system around him rather than me surrounding my system around him. So I think it was an amazing thing to do. You know, I'm not calling myself a Michael Jordan or anything, but it's the same thing Chicago Bulls did with Michael Jordan. Phil Jackson surrounded his offense around Mike, not Mike going into his system. And eventually, Mike eased off into his system. But for the most part, Phil Jackson and the early on coaches that had Mike surrounded their offense around Mike. And Coach Yangale was smart enough to do that because he realized the type player that he had. And honestly, that was a strong point. That was a good point for me to have a coach like him that was just going to let me be me. Because all I know is how to be me. So he had no problems about my game, how I played. You know, he knew I was smart enough to distribute the ball when I had to. But he also knew that if I had to take the game and put it on my back, that I would. And most times I would just put the team on my back and carry them. You know, if I had to. You know, Nelson Asatono, you know, Rudy Destrito, Terry Asadano,
Saldana.
Saldana, yes.
Okay, you were also pitted with a shooter, Al Solis.
El Solis. Of course, Al was one of the leaders on the team.
Okay.
Yes.
So Tony, talk about your teammates. Okay, we talked about the Destroyer, Rudy Destrito. Did his nickname get to you? I mean, in the court, did you know why he was called the Destroyer?
Of course.
Okay, when was that realization?
I mean, I learned on after. Yes. I learned on to understand that. I understand why they called him the Destroyer. I mean, a lot of times guys would foul me pretty hard, and he would jump in front and take charge. You know, he wouldn't have that. You know, if a guy fouled me, whether it was a local player or import, fouled me too hard, Rudy Destrito would take care of it. He would come in and foul them right back pretty hard.
So it's the enforcer is someone smaller than you, and you were quite surprised about that.
Oh, very surprised, man. But he had the heart of a lion.
Okay.
And I love all my teammates, man, because you know, without my teammates, it would not be a hurricane, you know.
Okay.
So they played a very big part in, you know, my whole history of the Philippines.
Okay, Tony, describe the first games. Can you describe what was your first impressions of Filipino basketball after the first few games?
I don't know because I didn't have any. I have never seen the PBA, any PBA basketball before until I
Okay.
actually got the uniform and played. So I really didn't know until my first game. I had 87 points against Dale Demps, who ended up being the Pelicans Hornets general manager.
Yeah.
When I scored 87 points on him, and he was my size and bigger, I said, okay,
Okay. Yeah.
I
He
can do this.
plays more inside, right? Del Dems
I
plays
knew.
more inside than.
Oh yeah, I knew then. This is gonna be pretty. This is gonna be pretty sweet. Long as I can continue to play to do me, play Tony Harris. And Coach
Okay.
Gale, he allowed me to do that.
Okay, Tony, let us go to that 105-point game. Talk us back to, of course, you're gonna be playing in a provincial state of the Philippines, which is the Iloilo, and
Iloilo.
talk us about the atmosphere because there's not much footage. I wanted to watch the game, but it was not aired on TV. But can you describe to us the arena, the temperature, and the crowd there?
Well, I mean, I want to go back to the flight going to Iloilo. In the game right before Iloilo, I scored 70. I want to say I scored 78 points the game before it, that 105-point game. There was an old guy, Filipino guy, who watched me play that game.
Okay.
On the airplane, he was flying over to Iloilo with us. As I was sitting in my seat listening to my music, the old man came and tapped me on my shoulders. He looked down at me and he asked me, he says, "Mr. Tony, do you know the highest scoring single point game in the PBA?" I said, "Yes, sir." I'm looking up at him in my seat in the airplane. I'm looking up because he's standing up and I'm sitting down. I'm looking up at him and I said, "Yes, sir." They said it was 103 points by a guy by the name of Michael Hockett in 1982. So he looked down at me. He says, "Tony, you can break that record." I said, "Sir, not in a million years I'll ever be able to score 100 points. But thank you for having the confidence." He says, "Tony, you can do it." I said, "No, sir, I'll never be able to score 100 points. But again, thank you for having the confidence in me." So the old man took off, went back, sat down in his seat. So now we proceed to fly over to Iloilo. So now 2 days later, I get to the Coliseum. I'm on the floor warming up before the game. I see an old man pointing at me from the bleachers. He's pointing his finger at me, telling me, "You can do it." Just pointing his finger. And I don't know who this old man is because I didn't remember his face. So then I asked my teammates, Rudy Destrito and Nelson Asatano and all them. I asked them, I said, "Man, who's that old guy keep pointing his finger at me over there?" They said, "Tony, they said, "Tony, that's the old man from the airplane that was talking to you." I looked at him and I said, "Damn, that is him." But he was just giving me encouragement, telling me, "Tony, you can do it."
Okay.
And I'm looking at him thinking, shaking my head like, no, because that's too many points. But he's telling me, "You can do it. You can do it." So, of course, the game kicks off, and Sonny Jaworski with his Detroit Pistons, if I can call them, they brutally fouled me, brutally. They tried spitting in my face. They took a knee to my groin area. They did everything possible to get me into a brawl to get kicked out of the game because they knew that's the only way they could win the game is to get me ejected. But Coach Jan Gale and Elmer Younger did a very good job in prepping me before the game, telling me, "Tony, they're going to do this. They're going to try to do this. They're going to do that to you." So they had me prepped, and so it made me ready for the game. I was ready for the fouls.
So basically, you went to the line. Brian, how many times did he go to the line? I think it's 51, 52 free throws. If you're going to be going to the line for 2 free throws each, it's like how many? 26 fouls that they threw on you. It's like 4.5 players that could have, that they threw on you to give them at least 6 fouls. Okay,
Right.
So talk about those fouls. I mean, of course, the first 5 times that you're gonna get those fouls, how did you get that confidence to say, "Hey, I'm gonna keep on attacking this defense. It's the way that we're gonna win this game"?
again, Coach Yangel and Elmer Younger, they just had me prepped for the game. And by them prepping me for the game, telling me they're going to try everything under the sun to try to get me ejected. And I knew how important this game was to us to win. So it was nothing they was going to be able to do to me other than taking my head off, of course, which they tried. And by halftime, half of their team had already almost fouled out of the game by halftime. So I walked over to Sonny Jaworski, and I told him, I said, you got to try harder than that.
Okay.
So he says, well, Tony, I'm not responsible for you once you leave this gym. So when he told me that, I thought to myself, maybe I need to zip up. I was just a beast that day. Again, I got to give all credit to my teammates because they were protecting me as much as they could.
Okay, talk about, of course, Coach Sonny Jaworski. Did he play on that game or he just coached all the way?
No, he just coached.
And of course, you scored 105 points. Did you count your points as you score?
No. They announced on the PA system, Tony Harris has broken the all-time record, halftime record with 59 points.
Mhm.
And the old man I'm telling you about before the game, he stood up and started clapping. He started pointing his finger at me again, telling me, I told you can do it. Because now he thinks I'm trying to break this record, and I really wasn't. I was just trying to get the win because I really wanted to beat Ginebra. By any cost, I just wanted to beat them because they had the loudest and rowdiest fans. I love Ginebra fans because they stand behind their team 110%. Win or lose, Ginebra fans are gonna stand there. They booed me before I made it to the arena. They're standing in the doorway as I'm going into the arena, spit on my posters and tear my posters up, set them on fire. So
it was that crazy, huh?
Oh my God, it was ridiculous. Ginebra fans are ridiculous, but they were solid. When I tell you they were fans, they were Ginebra fans, true Ginebra fans. But we had great fans myself for Swift.
Mhm.
We had great fans. So it was always Swift fans against Ginebra fans. And we always came on top, of course.
So when you saw in your posters and spitting on your images, did that put more fire to you to performing well against them?
Oh my God! Of course, all that did was just add fuel to the fire. That's all it did. So their fans were the reason why their players got me because they added fuel to the fire. So I said, okay, I'll take it out on your team, which is what I did every game. I took it out on the players. If you got in my way, I'm dunking on you. If you're not close enough to me, I'm going to shoot a three-pointer in your face. If you get too close to me, I'm going to go around you. So by any cost, any means necessary, I'm going to punish you for sure because you're a Ginebra. And I respect the Ginebra.
Okay, Tony, any Ginebra player that you remember that was guarding you in that game?
No. Because it was never just one.
Okay.
It was never just one player.
They were all taking turns on you.
Yeah, it was all taking turns. Sometimes there were two players trying to defend me.
Okay.
They had Jamie. I think they had Jamie Waller, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They had Jamie Waller. He's from Virginia in the States. They was trying to compare him to me at one point. I said, okay. I'm gonna show you the comparisons. this is gonna show you who's the great.
Do you remember how many points Jamie Waller scored on that game?
Not many, because I was defending Jamie. I was defending Jamie alone.
Oh,
You're also defending the opposing import during that 105-point game.
Of course.
Okay.
Because I want to defend the best player they have. Because my defense is just as good as my offense.
All right, Tony. That first conference that you were here, okay, you took the Philippines by storm, and you were all over the headlines, and you were given the moniker the Hurricane. Do you remember how you got that nickname?
No, honestly, I don't. Well, yes, I do know.
Okay.
I flew out of Louisiana in 1992. I flew out of Louisiana. There was there was a hurricane on his way in. It was
Okay.
called Hurricane Andrew. I made
Okay.
it to the Philippines when there was a storm, when there was a hurricane coming into Louisiana. So I'm guessing that's where they got it from. I don't know. I mean, I destroyed every record you had, scoring record, free throw record. So I'm assuming that that's the reason why they call me the Hurricane, because a hurricane normally rips up everything. It tears up everything. It destroys everything.
Yeah.
So I was thinking, well, maybe that's where they got it from, because I play like a hurricane. I tear everything to pieces.
Personally, I was thinking that you got the Hurricane nickname because of that trademark dunk that you've been doing, which is you bounce the ball to the floor and you catch it in midair and do a 360. I mean,
Yeah.
I was at a very young age back then. I was thinking, hey, this guy really flies. Um, I mean, can you talk about that? I mean, that dunk was. I mean, I was just a kid back then, and when we go to the playgrounds, kids were trying to do that dunk, lower the rim, and try to do the Tony Harris dunk. Talk about that trademark dunk of yours.
Well, that dunk was something. It was a dream I had. It was a dream dunk I had, and I wanted to try it. So in practice, I went and tried it, bounced it, do a 360, go catch it. So it was something I had a dream of, and I wanted to try it. And I tried it in practice, and I did it. And I said, well, the first fast break I get in the game, I'll do it.
Okay,
Which is what I did. I mean, it was pretty cocky and arrogant for me to do it.
but that was one of the lasting images that most fans have you. Those who actually saw you play, that was the lasting memory that they have. But of course, Tony, you had a lot of breakaway dunks and everything. Talk about that finals matchup against Del Dems and the 7-Up Ancolas. What was it like? I mean, did you have the confidence, hey, we're going to be facing 7-Up, this is going to be a sweep? Did you expect a sweep at all?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course I did.
Okay.
Well, no, I'm lying. I'm lying. I didn't think we were gonna sweep them.
Okay.
I thought it was gonna be a tough series, but then after our first two games, I said, well, it's gonna be pretty easy.
Okay, so after the first two games, you know that you're going to win the championship anyway.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, actually, I knew that in the middle of the season. I knew then. I said we're gonna be the champs.
And you gave Coach Yang Yao his first PBA championship. And talk about that celebration that you had with the team, championship, anything that people said to you, especially Coach Yang said to you that back then?
Uh, oh man, I really was just happy for my Swift fans, because they played a big part in us winning the championship. It's not just the players on the court; it's our fans. I don't know if our fans know how important it is for them, though. For us, to hear those loud cheers, it was just amazing to hear them scream so loud. Sometimes you couldn't even hear your name. You couldn't even hear yourself talking in the gymnasium. So it was just an amazing feeling. It was a great feeling for me to be able to bring Swift and them their first championship. Coach Yangel, Coach Elmer Younger, the manager, Joey Conception, our owner. It was a great feeling for me to be able to bring them that championship. We all celebrated. It was wonderful. They wanted to take all of us to Hong Kong, but my stepdad was on his deathbed, so I canceled out on the Hong Kong trip and flew back to the States.
Oh, you didn't join the victory trip?
Yeah, so it was a bittersweet situation for me because my stepfather was on his deathbed, so I had to fly home after winning the championship game. So it was a bittersweet situation for me.
Brian, you have a question for Tony?
No, I was just gonna say, you were asking earlier how many free throws he took during that 105-point game.
Yeah.
So you attempted 53 times. You made 45 of them for 85%.
55 by 53.
Yep.
I was hurt halftime of that game. I was hurt.
Oh, really?
They actually hurt me. My groin. Yeah, they need me in my groin. So,
What?
but I didn't allow anybody to know that I was hurt.
You remember you
Coach
remember
Gale knew I was-
okay. You remember the guy who did that to you?
No, I don't. No. I mean, it was so many guys they had trying to defend me. So it's kind of difficult for me to pinpoint one guy.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was hurt at halftime. But
Okay.
I wasn't gonna let anybody know that I was hurt. I just continued to play, pull more and more out of me, you know, because I know how important it was for us to win that game. Because that game was going to determine the champions of the PBA, and we were proving to them at that moment that we're going to be the champs.
Okay, Tony, during that conference, I think Brian told me that you average 60 points per game. Can you recall those? I mean, we were jotting down the numbers, and it was just not a 105-point game. You had a 98-point game. You had an 80-point game. I mean, I was telling Brian that the most that I remember after the 105-point game is the 56-point game, and Brian even told me that it's not even in the top 5. Okay, so um, uh, talk about that conference. I mean, did any player give you a hard time defending you? Was there any player that said you say, "Hey, this guy can defend me"?
I would be lying to you if I told you yes. No, there was nobody there to defend me one-on-one that could stop me. I mean, at that point, they can only try to contain me. There was no stopping me. So I mean, I don't want to sound arrogant, cockiness, but it is what it is.
And the results are there.
I was at the height of my game over there in the Philippines. You know, I was on cloud 9 in the Philippines, man. I was on cloud 9. There was absolutely nothing. You could have brought, I don't care, you could have brought NBA players over there from out of the NBA. I don't think they wouldn't have been able to stop me. And I'm just telling you the honest truth.
Yeah.
I don't care who you'd have brought over there. They would have had a hard time stopping me because I was so on cloud 9. I mean, the Philippines belong to me. You know, that just gave me that much energy to do what I had to do.
And you know what? One of your contemporary imports that time was Steve Colbert, the crooked leg.
Yeah, Steve. I played with Steve. I played with Steve at the Washington when he was at the Bullets. He was the starting point guard at the Washington Bullets. I was in training with Steve there.
Okay.
So, even he was a pushover for me. And he started in the NBA for 12 or 13 years as a point guard. So, even he was a pushover to me. He was simple.
You didn't see the crooked leg move done in the PBA. He was like over the hill when he came to the PBA that time.
I don't know. I mean, he wasn't that old.
Okay.
I mean, he was of age, but he wasn't that old.
Now, after that championship, you came back to Manila defending that championship, but this time around, you were a marked man. I mean, teams were more prepared for you. San Miguel beefed up their roster. And talk about that second conference that you came to Manila, and of course, you were getting more fouled in your second conference.
Yes, I mean it was different. Even myself was different as a player.
Okay.
You know, and I think, I mean, yeah, they the second time around they defended me a little better than they did the first time around because they didn't know what to expect out of me the first time around, the first conference. The second conference, most of the coaches did a better job in defending me. I can honestly say that. They knew what they were facing now, the Hurricane.
But of course, in that second conference, you had this finals matchup with San Miguel. Talk about that. I mean, looking at the numbers right here, there were overtime games in that 5-game series. In that 5 games that you played for Swift. Talk about what was the difference of this San Miguel team that they did to probably stop the reign of the Hurricane from getting his second championship?
Just sending extra guys at me, making me get rid of the basketball. You know, and I had to distribute the ball a lot more. So they did it. They came up with a hell of a defensive strategy.
Okay, this is the thing. I was a young guy, and I saw you and Kenny Travis at the mall walking together. I was like, whoa, it's Tony Harris and Kenny Travis walking in the mall together, and I think it was Lambert Shell, the other import that was with you guys. You were just walking around the Ayala malls that time, and I was just fascinated to see all of you. I was starstruck back then, but
Yeah.
you guys had a friendship back then, and when you were in the finals with Kenny Travis, you guys were in this competitive form that hey, I think I saw these guys, they were friends, but at that time you were about to lock horns.
I mean, when we're on the court, we understand it's all business. Then after court, we're all friends at the end of the day. You know, we all respect one another as friends. On the court, we understand it's all about business. You know, we can hang out, go clubbing. You know, we understand it's all about business on the basketball court. But then after court, it's all friendship. You know, so that we understand.
Okay, Tony, that time I even saw one clip that is on YouTube right now that you and Kenny almost had a fight, but you were trying to shake his hand during that intense moment. And talk about that moment that you almost had a fight with a good friend of yours.
Again, it's just competitive nature in both of us, and you know, I didn't want to get kicked out of the game either. You know,
Yeah,
because I understand my team needs me at this point. You know, and they were a tough team to beat. You know, Kenny Travis is he's a very good player.
mm-hmm.
Along with all his locals that he had. Bone Alvarez and all the rest of them guys are very good. Some of those local guys are just as good as any import.
So you just trying to keep yourself in the game as well. But after that that loss, what struck to you in that final series against San Miguel that maybe what could Tony Harris done better to win that championship, or the team could have done better?
Honestly, just came up with a better game plan, and for me not to try to take over, because that we should have understood at that point that they're gonna be focused on me. So we should have actually kind of came up with a different strategy rather than everything running through me. They knew once they shut me down, there was a good chance for them to come out with a victory, which is what happened, of course. And again, you know, their coach did a very good job in coming out with that strategy, offensively and defensively.
After that finals matchup, it was your time to take your shot again in the NBA. You got called up by the Boston Celtics, and run that experience to us that you're returning to the NBA, and you were telling me a while ago that hey, what am I doing in the Philippines? Give me a sign. And now you're back in the NBA. You earned another roster spot for the prestigious Boston Celtics. Talk us about that. Okay, how were you contacted by the Celtics to try it for their team?
My agent, Mark Fletcher, of course. And again, you know, the Celtics is somebody I'd never really dreamt of or planned for.
Okay.
I really wasn't. I was never a Celtic fan to begin with.
Okay, because you're a Sixers fan.
Yes. You know, it was kind of weird when I went over to the Celtics because it was always a team I always wanted to play against, not with. My first game was against Miami Heat. So, well, let me bag up. Let me bag up to my first signing my first deal. I did my own contract myself.
Okay.
Which I don't think I did a very good job in doing it. But anyway, I did my own I did my first contract myself.
Okay.
So now I become part of a Celtic. I set a 3-point record in their summer league camp. That's really why they brought me in.
Mm-hmm.
Because of that record I set for the 3-point summer league. The old guy, I got his name on the tip of my tongue and I can't get it out.
Okay. Well, we'll just call him the old guy, and then of course you had 28 points against the Miami Heat. I mean, you were feeling it. I mean, all that scoring that you did in the PBA, you are a potent scorer as well, and you prove it on the biggest stage, which is the NBA. And run us through that game. Who were you against? Who were you guarding? And what are the things that you remember in that Miami Heat game? What
I remember is I was on the bench. Me and Kevin Gamble.
Okay, Kevin Gamble
was sitting on the bench, and I hear the fans. They're chanting something, but I can't figure out what it is they're chanting. So Kevin, he hit me with his elbow. He says, "Man, can you hear what they're saying?" I said, "No, I can hear them saying something, but I can't figure out what it is they're chanting." He said, "They're chanting your name." in the Boston Garden, they were chanting Harris, 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 Harris. But the reason why they were chanting my name is because it goes back to the Philippines. The Boston Globe posted on their front page, Celtics signed 105-point Tony Harris.
You got that nickname to them.
Yes.
You got the
So-
105-point guy.
Yes. So now the fans, they all flock to the gym. They want to see this kid who scored 105 points. They don't see me because I'm on the bench. So they start chanting my name. That's when my coach looked down the bench and says, Harris, come on. That's when he says, go get Sherman Douglas out, who was our point guard at the time. So I check in, I go get Sherman. I'm nervous, of course, because it's my first game with the Celtics. I don't know what to expect out of myself, but I'm gonna go back to the Philippines and just play my game. What screwed me up at the 76ers, I'll go back even to Philly. Every game I got into, I was nervous. I didn't just play like me. So when I got into Boston, I said, I'm not going to do the same thing I did at the 76ers. I'm going to get in and just play my game. So when I got in, of course, Harold Miner and Brian Shaw was trying to defend me.
Okay.
And I'm thinking I just came from the Philippines. Nobody can defend me one-on-one. I still had that cockiness attitude with the Celtics, although there was much bigger and better players. The attitude was still with me. You can't stop me one-on-one. I don't care who you are. You're not going to stop me. So I realized at that point, I'm trying to get a contract deal. So I got to go out and perform. This is an opportunity for me. And I realized the word behind opportunity. Opportunity is big. It don't always come knocking at your door. Well, this time opportunity came knocking at my door. I'm going to show up. So my first game, they try to defend me one-on-one. I'm like, nah, it's not going to happen. So I was going back to the Philippines. I just started playing. I was going out of the offense. I was just playing one-on-one basketball. Every time they tried to defend me one-on-one, I'd just go around them. So then at that point, our coach, he says, well, just let him go. He's doing good at it. He's going outside the offense, but he's scoring. He's being productive. And he just allowed me to continue to be me.
Okay.
So at halftime, we're walking into the locker room. Miami Heat's behind us. I can hear Miami Heat going over their halftime strategy on the chalkboard. They were trying to figure out who is this kid, Tony Harris. We don't have any film on him. So where did he come from? I can hear them in back of me. So he said, well, how many points does he have right now? Well, he has 15 right now. Okay, how do you expect to stop him at halftime? So they was trying to come up with a strategy as walking in at halftime. So that was a great feeling myself just to hear them trying to come up with a strategy walking into the locker room at halftime, how to stop me. So I also set a free throw record for the Celtics that game. I was 13 for 13 from the free throw line. I was playing against who was trying to defend me was Harold Miner from USC.
That's the Baby Jordan. They call him the Baby Jordan.
Yeah, and I wanted to show them just how good a Baby Jordan he was. So it was him, Harold Miner, and it was Brian Shaw. I knew neither one of them guys could stop me one-on-one, and I was gonna show them they couldn't stop me one-on-one. So everything was clicking. I think I had 2 or 3 3-pointers. I wasn't missing any free throws. I set a record 13 for 13 from the foul line. I had about 7 to 8 rebounds. And I was just going coast-to-coast basketball, playing street ball, because that's what I know best, street ball.
And you know what? What I remember in the clip that they showed is that your trademark of hang time, when you bump into someone's body in the air, you tend to hang onto the ball and try to look for an opening to shoot it up to the rim. And that's kind of risky if you do that in the playground, and you have a tendency to step on other people's foot. And talk about your hang time game. How did you? Were there any influences that you had? Of course, you're a Sixers fans.
It was something we learned to do as young kids coming up, where we played. In my area, it was something we learned being young kids. Everybody wanted to do hang time.
It's because maybe the Dr. J influence in you?
Oh, man, no question. It was Julius Erving. Great Dr. J.
All right, Tony. That the Celtics stint was a little cut short, but he had a return to the PBA in 1998. But things were not moving the way that you wanted, and you were playing for Yengia once again. And talk about that last stint that you had in the PBA.
I mean, it was just everything was pretty different.
Okay.
You know, I didn't have that fire set up under me the same way I did the first conference, and I don't know why. I think really what it was is that I didn't really know what to expect in the first conference. I was always going 110.
Okay.
So the second, this other conference I came in, 98, it was, I just took time. I just stepped back. I wasn't going as hard as I was the first time I came to the Philippines.
Yeah.
Every play I was going hard every play on defense and offense.
How would you compare the PBA from when you started and when you came back in '98?
I mean, I could already see the growth.
Okay.
I could already see the growth. The skill setting in the players. It was it was just different in a lot of ways. Players started to understand the game a little bit more. Not that they didn't understand the game when I first came, my first conference. The game just looked like it's just two steps, higher than it was when I first came.
Okay.
So the players started to understand the game a little bit more, or a lot more.
So the competition really stepped up as well. But of course, Tony, you played in other countries as well. Talk about your other stints in. Just tell us about what other countries that you played in.
I played in Greece. I played in Cyprus. I played in Cyprus, Greece. So I didn't know what to expect. This was 95 when the NBA went on strike. When we went on strike in 95, me, Dominique Wilkins, and Xavier McDaniels. I don't know if you know who David.
Yeah.
You know X-Man, right?
Yeah.
Xavier McDaniels. He was the modern Michael Jordan before Michael Jordan, X-Man. We all flew to Greece. I didn't know what to expect out of me in Greece because I've never played in Europe before. So they flew over to Athens. I flew over to Cyprus, which is the island of Greece. And again, man, I did the same thing I did there. I did in the Philippines. I just didn't score its highest points.
Yeah.
And I was almost averaging about 60 points there in Greece. The whole Athens was keeping a watch on me. I didn't know they were, but they were keeping a whole watch on me because they were expecting me to come over a year later. I brought them their first championship. My team was called Apoel.
Mm-hmm.
That was my team's name. And for, I want to say, my first 8 or 9 games, it was me playing against 2 other imports. I only had 1 import, which was myself. So I was always facing, every game I was facing 2 other Americans.
Okay.
And we still was undefeated our first 16 games. We was 16-0 with me being the only foreigner. And again, that was an amazing feeling being in Greece, in Cyprus, Greece. Of course, they know me as a Hurricane over there. And I didn't really like them calling me the Hurricane over in Greece.
Okay. Why is that?
Because I tell them, you don't earn the right to call me the Hurricane. The Philippines gave me that name. So they're the ones who earned the right to call me the Hurricane.
Okay.
So, but it was a great feeling, even in Greece. They accepted a key to Cyprus. They gave me a key on their national television, on a live talk show. I accepted a key to the country of Cyprus. Yeah.
Wow. So you were really balling around. I mean, not just in the U.S., but you had a calling to go around the world and play basketball and be an ambassador for the game.
Oh, man, it was lovely. It was great. And my biggest fan was the president of Cyprus. He was the president of Cyprus. He invited me out to a few of his dinner outings, which I attended.
Okay.
I had no idea. When he was sending me letters, I didn't know who he was. And then they explained to me, Tony, he's the president here of Cyprus.
Okay.
So he was my biggest fan, I want to say.
So what is it like? I mean, meeting the president of Cyprus that time, and of course, having him compliment your game.
I mean, it was big to me because first president I ever met in my life, so it was big to me. And now here recently, they want to induct my jersey. They want to put it in their museum.
Wow.
So when this COVID-19 is all over with, they're gonna fly me back to Greece and do the ceremony to induct my jersey into their museum, their sports museum there.
Wow, that is a huge thing for you. I mean,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
excited for you for that, and I hope you come to the Philippines as well. I mean, we miss you here. I don't know who have you been in contact with?
Well, I miss the Philippines. What I really don't understand is why haven't the PBA reached out to me? I don't know if they reached out to Sean Chambers, who also was the ambassador for the Philippines. I
Yeah.
represented you guys. I represented you guys in your Olympics, and I averaged almost 50-something points in your Olympic game.
Okay.
That's when you guys, we played against Hong Kong, we played against China, we played against Japan. All these countries came after me. They tried to take me from the Philippines because they thought they could offer me more money than I was getting paid in the Philippines. Of course, they know the Philippines is a dirt cheap country, so they thought maybe they could persuade me to come to their country.
Okay.
So first it was Hong Kong. Hong Kong made an offer to me, and I told them no. So they said, clearly you can't be making that much here in the Philippines. I said, well, you're absolutely wrong about that.
Okay.
I am. They said, well, what are you making here? I said, I'm making 18,500 a month.
Okay.
It says, no, you're not. You can't be making that here. I said, that's what I'm making. So unless you can top that price, then you can move around.
Okay.
I represented you guys in your Olympic game again.
Okay.
And see, that's what I don't understand. Why the Philippines has not reached out. Well, the PBA, I won't say the Philippines. Why the PBA has not reached out for me to come and coach.
Okay.
Reached out to a guy like Sean Chambers to come and coach.
Yeah.
You know, we are the PBA. Sean Chambers, he's PBA. You know, Bobby Parks, rest in peace. He was PBA. We were all Mr. PBAs. So why is it not that the PBA would not offer us some kind of deal to come back and coach and pass the knowledge that we have on to the young players that's in the PBA? You know, to me, it's upsetting.
Okay. So this is you telling the PBA that you're open to come back to Manila and coach.
Of course. I mean, I would love to come back to the Philippines and continue to share my knowledge and train the upcoming players that's there. I mean, I am the Philippines. I am the PBA. I'm the history. I'm your history.
Yeah. And Tony, this is the thing. Whenever a good import comes to the PBA, it's like you are the barometer of success. Is he like the next Tony Harris? Is he gonna be playing like Tony Harris? We had an import that came in. His name is Des Wells, and he had and a coach was quoted. He is like the next Tony Harris, the second coming of Tony Harris. I mean, you were the barometer of success of imports coming to the PBA, and how do you feel that you've been like that? I mean, after all these years, 1992, it's almost 30 years already, and your name is still coming up as the barometer of imports coming into the league.
I mean, it's a great feeling, but again, what is it doing for me? Because the PBA haven't even reached out for me to even try to give me a coaching deal over there, and I don't understand why they haven't. You know, you've offered everybody under the sun a coaching job. You know, I had Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao even came after me.
Okay.
He wanted me to come run with him. His last fight against Floyd Mayweather, he wanted me to come do a morning run with him.
Okay.
But I was working and I couldn't. I mean, that itself is, is saying a lot when you got a guy like Manny Pacquiao.
Yeah.
Is reaching out to me, and yet the PBA is not even reaching out to me. And I've made attempts to reach the PBA to come coach. And I'm not understanding what's the problem with me coming over there coaching. You know, you're bringing this guy, Ned, whatever the hell his name is. You know, you just bring him out from wherever.
I think right now, are you aware? Have you been monitoring the PBA lately? How the league has been going through?
No, not really. I haven't really been following it that tough. I watched some highlights of your All-Star games, your dunk contests, and a few games here and there. But, it kind of disappointed me when the PBA has not reached out to me. And I've been trying to reach out to them more so than them trying to reach out to me.
Okay, since we are talking about coaching right here, Tony, what is your take on this? Because you are an import. Coach Tab Baldwin, who is the former national team coach, and he's not connected anymore with his mother club in the PBA, and he told in another podcast that imports are not getting the same calls as the locals. They are more loose on the imports than the locals. What is your take on that?
I mean, I think he was very stupid for making a statement like that. I mean, I don't think that. I mean, that's a slap in the face to our officials, our officiating over there too. I deserve every foul I got. I deserved it. I always thought the officials were against me. I never thought they were with me. I always thought they were against me because I was an import. For him to say that we got free, almost like free calls, and we got cuddled by the PBA and officiating, that was just an ignorant statement for him to make.
Mm-hmm.
It is honestly a slap in my face. Guys like Kenny Travis goes all the way back to every import that ever played in the PBA. And I'm speaking up for every player every import that played in the PBA, because that's what it is. It's a kick. It's a kick in our balls, if I can say that.
So totally not agreeing with Coach Tab Baldwin's statement.
No, but I think it's a PBA fault for bringing this guy who probably knows little about the PBA, the history of the PBA, if any.
Mm-hmm.
Now here he is disgracing our league, which we have spent years trying to build. I say we, because again, I am Philippine. I am PBA.
Okay.
Here it is. We're just trying to get better in the league, and he comes in town and just knocks us down.
Mm-hmm.
After all the hard work has been put into officiating, and trying to get better players, and get the proper training for our officials. This guy just come and just slap us in the face like he's Phil Jackson or some fucking body. I mean, this guy's been over there 6 years and haven't won anything. So who is he to badmouth the PBA?
Okay, Tony, I remember when you were playing in the PBA, after driving to the basket and you get some contact, you were always looking at the referees and saying, "Where's the foul?" I still remember that very vividly. I mean, so numerous times. I mean, okay, Tony's complaining that there is no foul, but sometimes I see it, and of course the replay shows it, that there was contact still, and you're not getting the calls. And is that what you're saying as well, that most of the time you're not getting the calls in favor of you?
I look at myself now. I look at myself back then like I was a LeBron James in the PBA. Because LeBron James in the NBA, they have to act. He has to actually get fouled pretty hard for the officiating to give him a foul, because he's so physically strong.
Mm-hmm.
To a little tap, it's not a foul to the officiating, but a foul is a foul.
Okay, I'm gonna read out some questions here, Tony, that came from some media people on questions about your playing days, and I'm gonna read it. PBA YouTuber PH Sports Bureau is asking, who is your contemporary import that gave you a hard time competing against? Is there anyone?
Kenny Travis.
Kenny Travis.
Yes.
Talk about that matchup still. And again, I know you guys are good friends.
I mean, Kenny was just as strong as I was. He was just as good a shooter than I was. Kenny was a pretty good player. So, I mean, he gave me problems, Kenny Travis. If I had to pick one player, it would be Kenny Travis.
Okay.
Kenny was pretty quick. He was fast. He was strong. He could shoot. He was pretty smart. So, yeah, Kenny. Then he had a hell of a coach, Norman Black.
Okay,
So,
and he is surrounded by a deep roster that time.
Oh, of course.
Very, very deep roster.
Oh, yeah.
Another question here, Tony, is from Ivan Saldaheno of Dugout Philippines. Okay, you played alongside Nelson Asaitono. The top 40 players in the PBA has been announced, and he was the notable player that got snubbed from the top 40 players in local players in the PBA all time. Any thoughts on that?
Wait.
He
You
was
said he
snubbed.
got what?
He was snubbed as the top 40. Of course,
Snub. What is snub?
he was not selected as the top 40 players in the PBA.
Well, whoever's made that list must be drunk.
Okay.
They have to be drunk. If Nelson Acetono is not on that list, they have to be drunk. Whoever made that list.
Okay, your thoughts about playing with Nelson?
Oh man, it was great playing with Nelson, man. Nelson was an enforcer around the basket as a power forward. You know, no locals could defend him one-on-one. He was very, very smart. Very smart. He's very athletic for a big guy. He had the biggest hands in the world. He always kept me cool-headed. When he knew I got hot-headed, he always kept me cool-headed. In some games, he would take the lead. I would follow him.
Yeah, this is Tony Harris following the lead of a local. That is Nelson Asaitono.
Yeah, that's my man. Nelson Acetono is my brother from a different mother.
Okay, Nelson, have you been in touch with Nelson lately?
No, I wish I could.
Okay.
I'm afraid if I did, I might cry.
All right. Tony, maybe soon we can get the old Swift players to have a reunion here in Zoom, since we'll try to organize that as well. But of course, playing with Nelson Asaitono, and of course, getting snubbed on that top 40 list, you're saying that, hey, that is like, sorry for the word, it's bull crap. He's called the bull. Okay.
Yes.
And that year,
if he's not top 40, it's BS. He should most definitely be top 40, for sure.
Okay.
I mean, there were not too many players as good as Nelson. You know, it would be hard for me to name a lot of players in the PBA that was greater than he was as a local.
Okay, Nelson, that year that you came, 1993, he lost the MVP race to Atto Agustin. What was your thoughts on that very, very tight MVP race between Nelson and Atto Agustin?
I think Nelson deserved it, of course. I mean, he was my teammate, so I think he deserved it.
Okay, so just like that, you just think that Nelson deserved that prestigious award of being the MVP that year. But have you heard that Nelson suffered a heart attack just this April?
No.
Okay, so if you have a message right now to Nelson, what will you say to him?
Is he okay?
Brian, can you shed light on Nelson right now? Brian, are you still here?
Yep, I'm still here.
Okay. What is the news on Nelson?
Wait. Actually, he's recovering.
Okay, so Nelson, he's recovering already, and we'll try to get, we'll try to get the destroyer as well in the podcast with you. Would you be opening to doing that, Tony? Maybe we could get you to connect with Coach Yang again in the future.
Sure.
All right, we'll try to organize that. You played with Vergel Meneses during your heydays. Talk about the aerial Voyager, and I know you guys may think that there are not much Filipinos that could jump that high.
No, man. Meneses he could jump. He was a great player. Sometimes I would just give him the ball and just get out of the way. Mm-hmm. Go do you, man. You know. Yeah, Vergel Meneses was, man. Yeah, he had great leaps.
Okay, how was it playing with him as the wing? You have Nelson, you have Vergel on the side. I mean, yeah, he had some talent with you.
Oh yeah, man, it was great. The game became that much easier having him and Alvin Patrick. I mean, not Alvin Patrick. Nelson Acetono. The game just became that easy for me.
And you guys brought in a very interesting brand of basketball. Of course, having the bull. Vergel Meneses on the side, and as well as Al Solis as your kick-out player to knock in those three-pointers along with the destroyer. Okay, so
So, we was a showtime. We knew people wanted to see a show, so we came to put a show on.
mhm.
People love entertainment. Nobody wants to come see anything boring. So when you see me get in the air and dunk, I come down and do my little dance. People come, they want to see excitement. They don't want to come and just go to sleep at a game. So
All right.
that's what I bring as a coach, excitement.
Mhm.
I know the kind of players that need to be in the Philippines. I know what Philippine fans want. I
Okay.
know what they want.
Okay. Right now, of course, imports are coming in the Philippines, and if you get to talk to an import who's gonna play in the PBA, what is your advice to them?
Again, I mean, just for them to be them. I mean, again, it'd be unfair because I don't know how the league is right now. You know, I mean, any player, I just tell them just to be themselves. You know, whatever got you here, continue to do it. You know, don't change up now. You know, go hard or go home. You know, for me, I go hard. And that's what I put in each one of my players. Go hard or go home. If you're not gonna go hard, then go home.
All right.
Because I can't use you.
Yeah.
You know, you're here for a reason. You're not here for vacation. And see that's the approach I took when I came to the Philippines. I'm going hard to go home. I'm gonna send everybody home that I put in front of me. I'm putting them on the next thing flying out. That was my approach. I'm sending you home.
Tony also did you play with Kenneth Duremdes?
Huh?
Kenneth-
Duremdes?
Yes.
He was here. Even Coach Shotan Kinsen, you played with him, and even Renato Agustin.
Yeah.
This was with the Sunkist team. It was a star-studded team.
Talk about, of course, talking about Captain Marbel, Kenneth Duremdes.
Oh man. He was everything you say that he was. I mean, he was a great player. Now I know he's one of the top 40, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he has to
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
Bone Alvarez, top 40.
No, not yet. I think Brian,
No.
not yet, right?
No, not
What?
Alvarez.
Not yet.
Maybe in the next 10, but not in the top 40. So you're saying to us right now that Bong Alvarez should be a top 40 player in the PBA history.
Of course, Bone Alvarez was probably one of your most exciting players to watch as a local.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, he was exciting for me to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I love the way he hung in the air. He had the best hang time there was. His hang time was better than mine. I mean,
Okay.
I love Bone Alvarez. I love this game. He had a hell of a hang time game.
And talk about competing against Bong Alvarez. What is it like to be playing against Bong Alvarez?
I mean, Bone was he was nervous player to play against. He was because Bone Alvarez, if you allowed him to get on, if he gets on fire, I mean, he'd give you 40 points easy.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, he was not an easy player to contain. I think if Bone would have had a different coach, you know, that just give him the green light, he would have been very difficult to defend. Very difficult. You know, sometimes these players just need the right coach.
True.
To bring the game out. See me, I'm a confidence builder. For my players, I don't break my players down. I build them. If their confidence is broken, I build their confidence. If they're afraid to shoot, I make them a shooter.
Mm-hmm.
If they're afraid to penetrate, I make them penetrators.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell them, look, don't ever think about missing. Just shoot the ball. Because if you think about missing, don't shoot it. You've already missed.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so that's one of my sayings when I'm training. You know, I'm just a confidence builder. You know, I make my players believe in themselves because I know how important it is in the game of basketball or any sport, really, not just in basketball. You got to have your player have confidence in himself before you can actually have confidence in him.
Yeah.
So I know the kind of player I was when coaches have confidence in me.
Mm-hmm.
Because once I realize the coaches have confidence in me, it makes me that much stronger of a player.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me not nervous taking a shot. It makes me not nervous making a pass and throwing the ball away. I know my coach is not over there jumping and screaming on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know my coach is looking at me, telling me, "Great play, you know, great shot." Even if I miss a great shot, I'm just that guy. I'm a player's coach. If I can say that, I'm a player's coach.
Mm.
And most of the players I coach understand I've played at every level of the game. College, high school, NBA, PBA, CBA, you know, so I have all players' full attention. When I talk, forget what I've done in the Philippines, forget what I've done in the NBA.
Yeah.
I have their full attention as a player, as a coach. And that's pretty difficult to get a player's full attention. But you know, they understand I've played at every level of the game. You know, I've done things in basketball that most players won't do in a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it took me years to do it. And I know I can come and I got a hell of a lot to offer the Philippines, you know, as I did as a player. I have the same amount of offer as a coach. I wanted to come there and do a free basketball clinic
Okay.
because I know how badly the Philippines need me, a person like myself, to come and give a full clinic and teach them the techniques of the game.
Tony, if there is one thing that Filipinos should improve to compete better internationally, what would that be?
I mean, honestly, I'm not sure how your league is now because I haven't really kept a close watch on your league.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, bigger and better players and better training. Training comes in coaching. You know, your players is only going to know as much as their coach knows. So when your player's out there doing something he's not supposed to, it's because the coach.
Mm-hmm.
So your coaches will only know your players will only know as much as your coach knows.
Okay, Tony. Right now, there is another question here from John Ezekiel Hero of Press One. You played in a foreign land, the Philippines, and now the Philippines has young athletes like Soto and 30 Ravenna who will be playing in the foreign land. Kai Soto is in the G League right now, along with Jalen Green, 7'2" center from the Philippines, and 30 Ravenna is in Japan, just signed for a Japanese team. Is there any advice that you can give to these players, these young players who are trying to their luck in a foreign country?
Oh man, we have no friends. We have no friends on the court. You know, just continue to do the same thing that got them there. The regulars are separated from the greats by a few things. You know, the greats, they're at practice an hour before. They stay after practice an hour after practice. You know, that's what separates the greats from the regulars. You know, they put extra work in, the greats. And the regulars they're okay with just their first practice. Well, greats are not. You know, greats will always be greats. You know, they stay after practice. They're at practice an hour early. You know, when you're sleeping, they're shooting.
Okay, so your advice to them is never to be complacent on especially right now. Kai Soto is playing for the G League with Jalen Green in the upcoming G League, and he has the best shot to be the first local born Filipino to play in the NBA. And anything that you can tell him about playing in the NBA and the competition that he's going to be facing.
You know, I mean, it's different than. I mean, the advice I can give him would be totally offset because, I mean, this time and era is different when I was in the NBA. You know, of course, I played against the MJs, the Isaiah Thomas, the Dennis Rodmans, and the Joe Dumars and all those guys. So basketball is totally different now. All I can do is give him advice, man. Just continue to do the same thing that got him there.
And he is now projected to be a first-round pick in the NBA. Now, moving to the next question right here from Jason Inocencio from Adobo Magazine. Why did you choose number 22 for Swift?
Because I couldn't get 23. So I had to get the next best thing, which was 22.
Why not 24? I mean, 22 is it, or just -1, not the +4?
Yeah. I don't know. I got it 22. It was closest thing to 23. I didn't exactly want 23, so I picked 22.
Okay. All right. Another question from him. Did Coach Yang design plays for you, or just how much green light did he give to you to shoot the ball?
All the green light that I needed.
Obviously. Okay. But anyway, Tony, fill in the blanks on this statement. On your basketball career, if I could turn back time, I would blank.
If I could turn back time, I don't know if I'd do anything any different other than spending time with my mom and my kids more.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. You know, nothing in my basketball game I would think I would change, because everything I did got me to that point now. So
Just a little more time with the family back then, reaping the glory in your heydays. That is something that you would like to change.
of course.
Brian, you have any more questions?
A lot.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Well, while you were talking, I was browsing through the web, and Yang Yao said a couple of things already. And the 98 points you were asking, it was against Presto Ice Cream.
Thank you, because I'm glad for that information, because I didn't know who else would get the points on.
This is why I brought Brian along here. He's like the encyclopedia.
Thank you, Brian, for being able to join us.
Well, not really. And you can't remember the defenders. I'll give you an idea. Don Ampalayo, Dante Gonzalgo, Rudy Distrito,
Yeah.
and Ray Cuenco. Those were the ones who they say guarded you well.
They attempted to guard me.
Yeah, but they were hurting you also.
Yeah. So tell them thank you for the 98 points.
Okay. Well, those were good days. Oh, as for Nelson, he suffered a heart attack last April 11. He was in Mindoro, and I think he's recuperating right now.
Mm-hmm.
And the PBA is trying to help him out. So that's it. That's the update I got from Nelson.
So tell me, what team fans are you guys? What
PBA?
fans are you guys? What team?
NBA or PBA?
PBA. We're not.
PBA?
Forget the NBA. We're not talking.
You're putting us on the spot right now. Okay, I think Brian should answer that first.
I cannot.
Brian's gotta ask first.
Well, but I don't. But they're usually my favorite teams are the ones who are who have players or officials that are easy to talk with, within reach.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think Tony was telling you, Brian, back then who was the
back
team that
then.
who was you rooting for? Are you rooting
back
against Tony back then?
During that time I was busy because I became a dad already. But I was following San Miguel before.
San Miguel. That's a good choice, San Miguel.
Yeah.
I like San Miguel myself.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good team. That was a good team to be with, San Miguel. I like San Miguel.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just destroyed them, but I like them.
Yeah, there was one game you scored high against them, and Ernest couldn't believe it.
Okay. How many points, Brian?
Wait, I didn't put the team. But I'm sure it's above 60.
Okay, Tony, I gotta be honest with you. During that conference that you came in, I was a San Miguel fan as well. But when they got eliminated early, I had no one to watch but you guys. So technically, not much of a Swift fan, but I was a Tony Harris fan, brother. So you gotta give me props for that.
Yeah.
It was
Well,
still vivid for me that you were matching up against Dell Demps, and there was no one during that era that could really guard you in that 7-up roster.
well, everybody that wasn't a fan of mine, I made them a fan.
But every time, to be honest, when my San Miguel team is going up against you, I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be a very difficult game for my team, and I just don't know if guys like Kenny Travis, Alvin Teng, or Yves Dignadice could guard you, or even Art De La Cruz could guard you. But during that time, I know you're gonna bring it, and I just hope the locals will have a bad game. Nelson will have a bad game. Al will have a bad game. So you can take all the points that you want, but I don't think you can score more than the San Miguel team back then. But that was the only time that I can say that, hey, this is the only way to stop this guy is to stop all the locals surrounding Tony. So that is my honest take for you.
And I go back to the time I was sitting in the Hilton Hotel with my manager, and I was asking God, what is my purpose for being here in the Philippines?
Yeah.
My purpose was the kids, the homeless kids in the Philippines.
Okay.
That was my purpose, I think. It had nothing to do with basketball. My purpose for me being in the Philippines was the homeless kids. I had homeless kids with me almost every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is something that we didn't know.
Yeah. I had homeless kids. They're on my Philippine basketball card with me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on one knee, and the homeless kids are surrounded me.
So how do you spend time with these kids?
I'd pick them up every day after practice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
They would be in the same place. So I used to have a little Nissan car, but then my team, Joey and them, understood that I had these homeless kids. So then they gave me a van.
Mm-hmm.
So every day I'd go pick up these homeless kids. And of course my condo, they started complaining about the homeless kids because I was putting them in a swimming pool. They were telling me the homeless kids were dirty and that I couldn't bring them inside. And I was like, well, take that up with my office because I'm gonna bring them inside.
Okay.
So I took them to the mall. I took them to the mall. I bought them all swim shorts, because they were complaining about them being dirty.
Okay.
I bought them, shower shoes, swim shorts.
Mm-hmm.
Took them to carnivals and we walked through the malls. And I had a great time with them kids, man. It was 5 of them that I'd go pick up every day. They would sit on sideline of my basketball practice. And my driver would always tell me. My driver would always tell me, Tony, you can't help all of them, because you knew that I wanted to help all the kids.
That is something that we don't see, because what we see on the basketball court is a very fiery Tony Harris. Okay, so this is your soft side that you are showing to us, that back here in the Philippines, you were actually handling all these kids. And where did you take them? I mean, aside from the swimming pool, did you take them to Jollibee or what?
Oh yeah, we went to Jollibee's. I took them to the fair. I had no idea that they'd never been on rides before.
Wow.
So I would feed them. They would all throw up. I had a great time. I would take them and buy them shoes and give their parents money for them. That was my purpose. And I don't know if you ever heard of Laura Vicuña. You ever heard of Laura Vicuña?
Oh, what about? Maybe you can enlighten us on what that one.
She was supposed to have been a saint. She was a nun that passed away.
Okay.
Who needed one more miracle to become a saint. I had 5 nuns to show up at Elma Younger's office because they wanted me to be a part of them building a computer lab for the homeless kids.
Mm-hmm.
So I was a part of that. I got Joey Conception to take a certain percentage of his meat products. Every time he sold meat, a certain percentage would come off that meat and go to the homeless donation. So I got my team, I got my owner to do that for me. I used to deliver groceries to families that didn't have anything to eat. That was the biggest mistake I made. I put it in the newspaper. I would love to help families out. And I put my number in there. When I did that, Jesus.
You got all the calls.
Me to do. It was the wrong thing for me to do because I didn't have enough time in a day to deliver all the grocery bags to different houses. I went and visited local schools. I went and visit kids in there, just show up in their classrooms. Friends of mine, it was Edu Manzano.
Okay.
Francis Megalona, Sharon Quinetta. Of course, all of them are big stars there. Of course, as you know, I dated Ilona Jean.
Stay in touch with her?
Actually, we were talking. Brian and I were talking. Are we gonna ask Tony about Ilona Jean? I mean, since you brought it up, maybe you can enlighten us more about your dating a famous actress back then.
Well, Ilona, she sent me a photo in the locker room through one of my bodyguards. Sent me a photo and wanted me to sign it. I had no idea it was a photo.
Okay.
She says, "Boss, he wants you to sign it." I say, "Who is she?" So they flipped it over, and I said, "Oh man, she's beautiful. Where is she?" They said, "Boss, she's waiting outside your locker room." I said, "Really?" She said, "Yeah, she's waiting outside your locker room for you, but she wants you to sign the picture." So I signed the picture, and I went out and I introduced myself to her. And she says to me, "No introduction. I already know who you are. My name's Ilona Jean. I'm a local actress here," and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. She said, "Well, what do you do on your off times?" And I said, "Well, I actually go run. I actually go running on my off time." She said, "You go jogging?" I said, "Yeah." She said, "Where?" And I told her the park that I went. She said, She says, "As you can tell, I can afford to lose a couple of pounds. So is it okay if I join you run one day?" I said, "Sure." I said, "Let me know." I didn't really know how big she was as an actress then. I just thought she was just an average fan.
Okay.
So when we went to go jog, she had just as many bodyguards as I had.
Ooh.
I want to say she had 5 bodyguards. I had my 4, and everybody in the park started running behind us. Like we had like 100-something people just running behind us. I didn't understand why. I thought it was all because of me, but I shortly it was her that they were really running behind, Ilona.
All right. So
Okay.
okay, those were the fond memories that he had with Ilona. But right now, I'm sure past is past. But of course, you guys have all. Ilona has her family as well, and you have your family. Any message to Ilona if she sees this video?
Well, I hope she's doing well. Good luck with her and her family, her husband. I miss the old days hanging out with her. Her mom, her little sister, the little dog they had. I don't know the dog's now. I forgot the dog's name.
But you know how the dog looks like still.
I mean, that dog went everywhere with us.
I have a follow-up question to that. Coach Yeng Giao said that you love the Philippines too much that you were everywhere you went you were popular. But is it true that you clashed with him at times because what do you call this? Especially when it was time to get serious for games.
They wanted me. They wanted me to stop hanging out at the malls.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted me to stop just doing different things, and because I think they were trying to protect my safety, and I didn't realize it at the time. So yeah, we were clashing. They were telling me stop hanging out at the malls, and Tony, there's not enough. You don't have enough security to protect you. So yeah, I would clash with him because I wanted to just hang out, and he understood that it was too dangerous, Tony, for you to just hang out. Because I still didn't realize just how big I was in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were afraid that somebody was going to snatch me and kidnap me, hold me for ransom, of course, as they always do in the Philippines.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, me and him, we always made up and shook hands as two men would do.
All right. Following up to that, Tony, Coach Chang, after those early years in the PBA, Coach Chang has blossomed into one of the best coaches here in this country. And he also spoke out about Tab Baldwin and talk about his growth as a coach. Because right now, he is a coach that is said to give players some tough love. Very much tough love. He will say anything to you, but the players who understands his coaching, they know that they can be better with him, and he is known to make regular players look really good on the basketball court.
I mean, he did it for us. I mean, we had players that really wasn't there good, but his type of coaching made them good. He was young then. I can only imagine how he is now as a coach. You know, of course, it's showing. It's proof in the pudding now. I mean,
Yeah.
the respect of being a coach is the top in the Philippines right now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's very good. He's a very good coach. He's a very good motivator too.
And did he also give you that tough love? Was that tough love present already during 1993?
Oh yeah, he stayed. He stayed trying to give me tough love. If I accepted it or not, he stayed giving me tough love because he understood as a coach that's his job. You know,
Mm-hmm.
he's not my friend. He's not my friend. He's my coach. So he was just that, a coach. But when he needed to be a friend, he was a friend. When he needed to be that coach, he was a coach.
Okay, Tony, when you came back and played for him, was there any tough love for you and him that he has to replace you during your comeback?
No, not that I know of. Not that I can remember. It wasn't.
Okay.
I mean,
So,
I fractured bones in my hand in
okay.
the Ali Coliseum. Some guy took my legs from under me. I came down landing, and I fractured
Okay.
my hand, bones in my hand. So, of course, I already knew they had to replace me because I couldn't play. With these fractured bones in my hand.
Mm-hmm. All right.
But there was no, there was no hard feelings. I understood. I understand the business of the league.
Okay.
As great as much as love they have for me, I know it was hard for them to have to replace me.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard, because me and Coach Yangel, our love goes way beyond basketball.
Yeah. Okay. When was the last time you talked to Coach Yang?
I can't tell you the last time. The last time is when I when I fractured my hand in the Ali Coliseum.
Okay.
That was Muhammad Ali's mall. That's the mall you named Muhammad Ali after.
Okay.
The Ali.
Mall.
Yeah,
Yeah, Ali Mall.
that was the one mall I wanted to go visit, and I only been there twice.
And of course, Tony, this is the thing. Right now in the U.S., there's a movement, of course, the Black Lives Matter movement. And personally, as an African American, what is your thoughts on that one?
I mean, I'm with him 110%. I mean, we've lost too many lives in police custody hands for no apparent reason.
Mm-hmm.
And it's time for it to stop.
Mm-hmm.
This is not just this era, but it's been happening way too long.
Mm-hmm.
This goes way back.
Mm-hmm.
Way back even before my time, before your time. So this is something that's been going on here in the States, and it should have stopped a long time ago with Dr. Martin Luther King, even when he was fighting for our rights. Malcolm X, and the list goes on and on. But somehow they got rid of him because it's not something they wanted. They didn't want us to be equal.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have no other choice. Put their hands down. Now we're equal.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure it's still going to be an uphill battle. It's the start.
Okay, Tony, do you have some personal experiences, and maybe during your time in the Philippines, did you feel that there are clashes in races here, or did you feel that African Americans are also discriminated in other countries as well?
No, not in the Philippines, for sure not.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've heard racist things shouted at me from the bleachers. It's a fan. So they're gonna try to say anything to throw you off and to get you upset, to get you out of your game. But I didn't take it as them being racist, because I don't think Filipinos are racist. That's just the love I have for the Philippines.
When you are here in the Philippines, did you feel comfortable with the people and how they embraced you during
Of
your time
course.
here?
I felt very embraced. The Philippines, I was more embraced in the Philippines than I have ever been in any other country.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I keep saying to you, I am the Philippines. I am the PBA, because that's the way I feel.
Okay, Tony, if ever you come back to the Philippines, would you be open to maybe helping out Coach Yang and his team right now?
Of course. Why wouldn't I be?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Coach Angel was who made me who I am. Because if he wouldn't have given me the green light to just be me, I would have never been able to become the Hurricane. I mean, I would love to get with Coach Angel. I'm looking for the opportunity to come back over there and coach. You guys know me as a player. You need to see me as a coach now.
Okay.
I'm just as good of coach as I am a player.
Mm-hmm. if ever that happens, that you're gonna be coming back to the Philippines, what are the first
Oh,
things that you are gonna do?
it's going to happen. Whether I come over there to coach or not, I'm coming back to the Philippines.
Hmm. And who are the teammates that you're gonna be visiting? Former teammates that you're gonna be visiting when you come back here?
I want to see Nelson. I want to see Rully Distrito. I want to see Bone Alvarez. I
Bong
want to see.
Alvarez.
Oh yes,
Hmm.
I want to see all of them. Benji Paraz.
Ben,
What is Benji doing?
Show
Big
business.
he
Big,
He's in show business.
is he?
Yep, making a fool
does
of himself every day.
does some sports commentary on the side along with Ronnie Magsanok. All right, Tony. Going back to the question, of course, Zaldi Rialubit, your team center, is also helping out Manny Pacquiao in managing his basketball league. Your thoughts about your teammates also getting some love after playing basketball?
What's the question?
I mean, your teammates after playing basketball, they are also doing other things like Zaldi Rialubit helps Manny Pacquiao in his basketball league, and of course, I don't know where Al Solis is or any of your teammates as well, but they are getting some love as well from the basketball fans, and they are also remembered.
Yeah, I was with Al Solis here in the States. He came here.
Wow.
He contacted me, and I met him at a gym. He was with a church.
Hmm.
So I went and met up with Al Solis here in Louisiana. I had a great time. I played pickup ball with some Filipino little players
Okay.
with a church. It was pretty good. It was pretty nice. I had a great time.
All right.
You
Any more questions,
know,
Brian?
Marami
Oh.
pa.
we have a lot of Filipinos here in Baton Rouge where I'm at.
Hmm.
I'm always with Filipino families here in Baton Rouge in Louisiana. There's a lot of them here.
Okay. Okay,
And of course, when I show up, most of them start crying. They're in tears. They said, man, they can't believe I'm actually meeting you. I said, why not? They say, man, we always seen you play in the Philippines, man. And we never had an opportunity to meet you personally. Now we come to the States and we're meeting you. Whoa.
Tony, you have more questions from Brian. I think he's saving up like a lot of questions.
Yeah. Well, my first question is, when was the last time you played competitive ball?
The last time I was in 2004, Greece.
Oh, that's the last time.
Yeah, it was my last year, 2004.
So what made you decide to really stop completely? Your family?
Well, I never really stopped.
Mm-hmm.
I just took a break
Mm-hmm.
eventually I just, because I realized then, man, the league is just getting younger. You know,
Okay.
it's time for me to step back and let the youth in now. You know, now it's time for me to just pass this knowledge on. It's time for me to pass on now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so that's my passion now. It's for me to pass my knowledge on, for me to train. My passion now is training. You know, teaching. It's the youth. It's the youth who's going to keep my name going.
True.
They're going. They're the ones who's going to keep the Hurricane or Tony going.
So you mentioned about teaching or coaching. Are you coaching right now, or have you ever had experience coaching or training?
Man, I coach AAU teams here.
Oh, really? Okay. How many
Yes.
teams? 8?
No, AAU.
Oh, I thought you were coaching 8 teams.
No, AAU.
Okay. What is the thing that you what do you focus on when you okay.
Hell, I hope Yangel coach Swift.
Yeah.
I was a coach player. I was a coach on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Yangel was a coach on the sideline.
Mm-hmm.
I was a coach on the floor.
Mm-hmm. What was the thing you remember? I mean, if I'm gonna ask you, what is the thing that you see that Filipinos need to work on? A Filipino basketball player during your time.
Well,
During your time.
I can't really say, to be unfair,
Mm-hmm.
if I give you something, because I don't know how far you guys have come based on
Mm-hmm.
I was there. When I was there, you guys were still kind of behind. but then you started catching up.
True. Yeah.
So I'm not sure on how far you. I mean, I'd have to sit and watch the PBA league, and then I can make that determination. From it's unfair for me to make that determination and not fully seeing, the PBA, And I'm almost sure you guys has come very far now versus when I was there. It seems like you have.
There is a lot of improvements and changes, but there's still something lacking.
I mean, even reporting, it seems like it's come a long way.
Yeah, true. That's true. So let me go back to that. The only team you played for is the Concepcion franchise. Were there any teams who tried to invite you back here in the PBA after that, or during those periods?
Not that I know of. No.
You didn't. Okay. Let me give you a scenario. What if Sonny Jaworski recruited you to play for him at Ginebra? Would you?
When?
Those times, at those times, at your peak after your RFM days.
Of course I would have. Why wouldn't I?
Okay, in a heartbeat.
I mean, you were with Swift that time.
Yeah.
Would you switch to Ginebra anytime or?
No.
No. We have to clear that out because it might look like that you prefer to play for Ginebra, but
I'm Swift by heart.
Okay.
Actually, I said after that, not that.
Yeah, after the Swift years, if Coach Sonny Jaworski came to you and said, "Could you play for Ginebra?" Would you play for them?
Probably not.
Okay. Why is that?
Because I'm Swift by heart.
Okay.
I would always love Ginebra fans, but I could never play for them. Not over Swift. No, I couldn't.
What if it's a choice between Coach Yang and Coach Robert Jaworski?
Say it again.
If you're offered by Coach Yang for another team, like for example, he held different teams after that, like Red Bull and now NLEX, and then Coach Sonny would invite you, which would you choose?
Coach, I'm going with Coach Yangel.
Even if the team is not that good?
Even if I'll make them good.
Okay.
Because I know Coach Yangel is going to give me that green light to just do what I have to do to get them better.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want a team that's already built.
Yeah.
Give me a team that's already broken, and I'll build it. Because from a team that's already solid, expectations are already through the roof.
True.
A team that's broken, there's no expectation from them. So it gives us all the freedom in the world to build up. It gives us something to fight for. Sort of speaking.
All right. Finally, Tony, any final words before we end this interview?
Yes. You guys need to give me a coaching job over in the Philippines. Honestly, and this is from my heart, I don't understand why I'm part of me, Sean Chambers, the Bobby Parks, rest in peace. We are the Philippines. We are the PBA. We should have been the first ones that the PBA reached out to bring back, to come coach. And I don't understand why that hasn't happened. And I'm not just speaking for myself. I'm speaking for the other imports that may have interest in coaching, because we're part of your history.
True. That's true.
You're not just picking up some kind of outsider like you just picked up this Ted or whatever the hell his name is that came and just shitted on the Philippine PBA.
Okay, thank you very much, Tony Harris, for those insightful details that you gave us during your playing years, and what is your update right now to your life. And we hope to get Coach Yang Giao in the next episode together with you, so you guys can have a happy reunion, and hopefully Nelson can also get into the picture as well. And once again, thank you very much, Tony, for taking time and having the patience, dude. We had to go back and forth to know how this Zoom thing works.
Well, I had help. My nephew's wife, she was the one that figured it out. So I don't want to take that credit.
Okay. So at least the next time we have an interview, you're gonna be okay. We're gonna be fine. We can go
Oh
anytime.
yeah, we're okay now. We got it figured out now.
All right. Okay, Tony. Again, thank you very much. And of course, next time we will my female co-host with us here, and of course Brian Yalum and Tony Harris. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Click the subscribe button and ring the bell to be notified with our latest videos.